Welcome to Spit in the Bit with Billy and Kev. We just got back from the Breeders' Cup last weekend, and we want to do a little recap. It was a great weekend. We had a fantastic time. Del Mar is always fun. Then you add the best horses in the world, and amazing.
Can't lose.
Yeah, how was your experience?
It was good. It was awesome. You know, um, you get to go to the barns quite frequently at Santa Anita, but I had never been back there. So we did that to start the week off and end or excuse me, the week with the week off, the weekend off, and then got to do it again on Monday, and that was awesome.
Yeah, got to
Uh,
visit a couple of our horses, Sango Sango and Kazazi.
Dan and folks had their um, they're winning flowers from the Breeders' Cup, and some of the barns like Mandela and Baffert had their wreaths out, or what do we want to call them?
Yeah, whatever those the flower
Yeah,
arrangement.
the whole arrangement that was pretty awesome. Um, yeah, I was just like a little kid.
That was fun. So
Right.
couple of the disappointing things about it, though, there were three horses at scratch that we really, really, really wanted to see.
Yeah, there was some for how much fun it was and how many races were really good and really fun to watch and be a part of and see up close. Um, oh, it'd been really nice if the three horses you're going to talk about didn't scratch.
Yeah, first we had Mystic Dan, who I was really looking forward to seeing. Mystic Dan is so much fun, and then um, Sovereignty, which would have would have. We both talked about. We think they probably would have won the classic. Watching it unfold, but
Oh, it was a great race, and it would have just been if Sovereignty was healthy and running like Sovereignty does. That would have just been you just got that feeling after the race. Man, that would have been probably a spectacular finish, and it was even without him there. But it'd been really fun to see him in Sierra Leone making a run at Forever Young and Fierceness and see what would happen. Even without him, it was a really fun race. But that uh, the mile would have been pretty awesome to see what Mystic Dan and White Abario would have done. Um,
yeah, you like both those. White Abario was the third horse that scratched. Just sad. Little bit of controversy in this one. The
just wackadoo controversy. I don't even know what to make of it.
Yeah, article that came out after the the owners and I don't know if the trainers in it, but the owners are taking it to court to figure out why. Why did they
Yeah,
scratched? They had a scan that came out normal. Then all week long the vets checked. The Breeders' Cup vets checked White Abaru. Everything was fine. The paddock, everything was fine. The jockey said during warm-ups, everything was fine. And then
yeah, it was Ortiz, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, Ortiz, junior, said warm-up went perfect.
right. I
So
mean, we're talking Eclipse winner. Yeah, it's bizarre. If if I don't want to say if they're to be trusted, I don't know how else to put it. Um, it's an odd claim to hear that they were not informed at any point as to why. And he was on the track, looked like he was warming up fine. And like you said, jockey said he was fine. And, you know better than I, but you sent me that really cool article. I mean, and at the Breeders' Cup, even more so. It's not like he just showed up and no one looked at him. Um,
yeah,
but still, I've heard nothing as to why. Um, and you certainly would think if the owners are seeking legal counsel that you would have heard from
nothing.
folks at the Breeders' Cup, but I've heard nothing
Yeah. Not that
unless
they
it
owe
is.
us an explanation, but if we're curious, a lot of people I'm sure are curious.
Oh, yeah, I think they do owe us, to be honest.
They owe you. It was one of your favorites going
Well,
in.
but they owe the betting public that. I think being
Yeah, well,
forthright as to why,
yeah.
and horse racing fans they own that. People paid a lot of money to, and we were that's you know when you said a few weeks back take a look at a race and we'll talk about it on here. That was the first one over the Classic. I just thought, I'm sure I'm not the only one. On paper, that looked like a really intriguing race. You had former um, mile winners, Breeders' Cup mile winners in there. You had Classic winner, you had Derby
Derby
winner.
winner. Yeah.
It just went on and on. It was just a really, on paper, looked really interesting. And you get up in the morning and by and one of the Derby winners out, and then the Classic winner goes out like when they're coming up to the gate. If I
Yeah.
remember correctly,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's correct.
suddenly he was off the board, and
Yeah.
like you're watching some claiming race at Mountaineer. It was
Yeah.
weird.
No, it was Breeders' Cup. It's a Breeders' Cup race.
Yeah, nothing against Mountaineer, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
suddenly a vet gets a better look at a horse that they claim is ready to go and says, "No,
Yeah.
back to the barn."
As opposed to this horse that had been checked every day and has
Yeah,
under
this
scrutiny.
horse
Yeah.
has
No.
won, I think, $6 million. It's not some
Yeah,
fluke.
and I just don't understand why. I mean, unless it was legit, like something came up and this horse was hurt or it was in danger or whatever. But
Why don't you say something?
yeah, I mean, that
Like,
would be a good reason. But
especially in this sport with all that's gone on, when you've got, you know, Maxim Securities trainers does time, goes on and on. Like Baffert with Triple Crown winners is barred from racing in Kentucky and New York for years. Like, why would you want any ambiguity out in the public as to why you scratched this horse? And then you have owners saying, we're seeking legal counsel because you're not even telling us why.
yeah, crazy.
And you have to trust the owners. I mean, my goodness, they've raced this horse in an industry where they're retiring horses pretty young. What's he going on 6, and he's still
Yeah,
racing in classic races and won, and he won the Breeders' Cup Classic. Like, it's not like they don't know how to handle this horse or are, just pushing him to his limit.
yeah.
It's weird.
Hopefully, we'll find out. Hopefully, some news will come out in the near future. But
Yeah.
positive stuff. What was your favorite race? Favorite horse for
Uh,
the race?
for me, it would be a real close. And I don't know if I have a definitive answer because in their own way, they were both great. Certainly, the Classic was because you had 3 horses right there, same 3 horses that were right there last year, and just kind of flipped the order. And you see Sierra Leone making his run, and you can tell Forever Young is running out of gas. It was just a great race. It was the
Yeah,
perfect somebody on the lead, a horse that likes to press just off the lead horse is, you could still see maybe Fierceness is going to make that last run, and then here comes Sierra Leone. It was awesome.
yeah. I really liked it because you had built up a bit of a rivalry with those three.
Mm-hmm.
You had a history, like you said. These three duked it out, which we're going to talk about a little bit about horses retiring. But it was kind of the last time we'll see those three
Yeah,
roll up their sleeves and go after it, and
that
and
was
they didn't
great.
disappoint. It
We
was
were there last year, and it's the same 3 horses, and they're both a year later showing up at one of the toughest races in the world and fighting it out in the exact same way. And you don't know who's going to do it. That's awesome. The racing industry needs more of that. So that was really cool, and it would have been awesome to have the best 3-year-old in that mix.
yeah, kind of almost a changing of the guard, so to speak, assuming that sovereignty would continue on.
Right. And I think if he had been, healthy, I think it's hard to not imagine he went to at least taking a real serious run at him.
Weird,
He,
weird question, a little bit off on topic, but after will sovereignty not running in this cost him the horse of the year?
hmm.
I think he's still in the running for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who else. It's got to be either him or Forever Young, right? I
You'd
don't
think
know.
so.
I mean, I wouldn't pull him out of it because I think he was, you know, Mott's, and it was the real deal. And well, you've heard my spiel. I He hasn't lost, in my opinion. I don't even consider his Fountain of Youth, or was it the no, it was the Florida Derby. I don't even consider that a loss. I think he ran just fine, and I don't think they had any intentions of even winning that race.
Just ran well enough to.
Yeah, he left from like the eighth or ninth post, which is not a great thing at Gulfstream Park, and he was already in. I think it was a complete tune-up. Um, that's my opinion. Can't prove that court of law.
No, but
But since then, I mean, who's ever in front of him? He just runs at him. I don't think it's gonna. That's why that race looks so fun to me. We talked about it. I had Forever Young second, but I just I just think Sovereignty is one of those horses. His buyer is just going to go up when he's healthy. Whoever's in front of him, he's going to try to run him down.
what's your other race that you liked?
Well, and then the mile was still, even though it was very disappointing to have Mystic Dan bow out in the morning and then lose White Abario as they're getting ready to go in the gate, and and reluctantly, but it was still, I got nothing against Bafford's horses. It was, Citizen Bull completely surprised me, and he shouldn't have. Like afterwards, I thought, well, why is he surprising you? Of course he can run like that at a mile. But his fight, like how he just was not going to give it up to Nisos, and that was a wicked, uh, really, really hot pace, and he should have caved. But I think he proved that there's a lot in that heart. He's just not a, it's not a great classic horse, distant wise, or classic distance wise.
Yeah,
But boy, at a mile, he was really tough.
he was good. Nisos was fantastic. If Nisos could stay healthy, like
Yeah. Oh, for
string
sure.
races together, that's a crazy good horse.
Yeah, and that's what I didn't even mention Nisos. Like he wins the race. But they both, that was a really fun horse race. Those were two badass horses that just wanted to get to the wire. And that's so fun. It was
Okay,
great.
I got a day one race for you though that I know you liked a lot as well. The Juvie, Ted Nafi.
Oh yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Oh yeah,
Just he was on another level.
yeah, and he, like you said earlier, we were talking, he's got some growing up to do yet. That kind of showed because he kind of shut down in the home stretch, but um, who was riding him?
Um, it was Johnny
Johnny
Vasquez,
V,
I
yeah.
think, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he even said he went into idle and he had to work to get him re-engaged.
Well, and we had talked about that at the track. Like, I'm not a jockey, but it didn't. Right. If you watch his races, that doesn't surprise me at all. I think he's a 2 year old. He just assumes, oh, when I run by these horses, and I can just, this is what I do.
Yeah,
I've already won it. You know what I mean? Like now I'm just gonna
that's
do my
exactly
thing.
what he did. And
Yeah, and then the other horses are re-engaging. It's like, hey, wait a second, this isn't what's gonna happen. You're not gonna pass me, and that's pretty impressive because I I don't know horse biology, but it has to be like any other mammal on the planet. Once you start to let go of that adrenaline type of feel that you
yeah,
get when you're in a fight or a
yeah,
race.
I think Brandt actually drew up right next to him. Brandt may have pulled a little bit ahead of him at one point.
Yeah, I mean, because he just wasn't doing anything to keep his momentum going. It was like, oh, wait a second. No, 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 no. So it'll be interesting to see how Fletcher works with him. But I still think if I were the other trainers watching that and watching him re-engage when he realized that, oh, horses are going to still, after I pass them, they're still going to try to repass me. That's what it looked like. It looked like a little kid that was just figuring it out. I'd be afraid if he stays healthy.
Yeah,
I would be, I'd be, I can't remember what jockey that was that went into the summer at Saratoga, thinking they had the horse, the 2-year-old of the year. They were looking forward to the Saratoga campaign, and they saw Seattle Slew and went back to the barn and got on the phone and said, "We've got a problem." That's how I would feel.
Churchill, we have a problem.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, oh boy, I don't know how we're getting past this guy.
All right, I got a question for you. Speaking of 2-year-olds, Ted Nafi looked great. You do like you said, if he can grow up a little bit, he's going to be
And
damn
the
good.
caveat is, like we're saying, like he definitely let up,
Yeah,
but that's not what I'm as impressed by. I'm that he,
rest that he got re-engaged. Yeah.
right. I think that's
Um.
really hard to do.
Okay. Let's make a bet. I'm going to give you your choice. You can have all of the 2-year-olds that have already run as a Kentucky Derby winner, or I'll give you all of the 2-year-olds that have not raced yet. Who
And
do
I
you
get,
want? The ones that have raced or the ones that haven't to win the Derby?
yeah, I'm going with ones that haven't yet, but that's not a strike on any of them that have. Um, I'm just gonna, I, I, I like some of these other horses, but boy, I, I guess what I'm really saying is I will take my odds that um, it's a lot not only to qualify for the Derby, but to stay healthy, keep progressing, and be ready to go on that first Saturday. So I feel like I have better odds with everybody else than I do with the current flock,
All
which
right.
to me is Ted Nafi.
All right. I'll take the ones that have run then and
We'll see what happens.
see what happens. I like it.
But it would be really cool it'd be fun to see a Seattle Slew type horse that's running at Saratoga, runs through the fall and stays healthy and stays undefeated. That would be really cool. Build some momentum of interest.
All right. I got some other things to talk about. We have some horses retiring, which always makes me sad. But we have a couple of brood mares going into becoming brood mares. We got obviously we knew Tor- Torpedo Anna retired. She'll be great. Can't wait till she produces some great ones. Copian, who took fifth in the sprint, but had won a Breeders' Cup prior to that. Copian was uh, has retired. That's going to be another great broodmare. And then is it Sila? I pronounce that. Won the distaff. She won the distaff going away this year. She was unbelievable. I can't believe they're retiring her after the dominant performance, but she's going to go be a mama.
Did they say anything about it? Like, because you're right. I'm always surprised um, by that with the mayors from the
Yeah,
ownership
yeah, they
perspective.
did. I
With
didn't. I didn't hear why. It's not an injury. None
unless
of them
she's hurt,
are
okay.
injuries. None of them are injuries. They just. It's kind of like that was the plan. And even
Yeah,
though
I
she was
don't get that.
dominant, they're sticking to their plan. I'm guessing that.
You know what I mean? Like I so much of breeding is especially initially is I don't know how it's like racing. You're taking advantage of that racing greed, like, oh, I just want to get that one horse.
Yeah.
Um, but with broodmares, why wouldn't you want to do more of the Zenyatta thing? Like,
Yeah.
you're only going to be producing a horse every 15 months. Why not let them have fun and you have fun with the whole run and let them be happy and do what they want to do? I don't get why you would,
Yeah.
and I don't get it. I don't see what you're gaining.
And we want to see these great horses keep running.
And the industry needs that. I really believe that.
And I get it. At some point, you're going to make more money in the breeding side than you did on the racing side. But the breeding side, the window's so is much bigger than the racing side. You only have a few years to race a horse, and
Right.
um, so speaking of here are the colts that I know of right now that have retired, that are going to retire for the as of right now, and go to be stallions. Obviously, we knew going in Fierceness and Sierra Leone.
Mhm.
going to retire. This is going to be their last race, and they didn't disappoint. I mean, they didn't win, but they didn't disappoint.
Right.
Um, and were great. And then I can't wait to see um, what they're going to produce. The other one that was a little bit of a surprise to me, didn't surprise you though, was Mystic Dan.
Yeah, I'm bummed. I didn't. That bums me out. um, and I don't know. Again, I can't speak for them, but you won the Derby. But I if I'm selling, I think it's hard. It's going to be harder to sell Mystic Dan to breeders than even well, Sierra Leone. You know, like, okay, I know you won the Kentucky Derby, but kind of like how Sierra Leone was running and how Forever Young was running, and they both went on to win the Classic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and Mystic Dan was looking like he was coming back into form. He's not a overly raced horse where you're
no.
unless there's some kind of
I'm wondering if there's an injury there that they just don't
yeah,
face him
or
down.
something that just potentially could happen. I get that.
But think
Uh,
about it, Torpedo Anna and Mystic Dan, they were tied together with the Kentucky Oaks, Kentucky Derby, and they both retired at the same
but
time.
but but Torpedo Anna went on to show, hey,
Yeah,
the Kentucky Oaks was no fluke at the Breeders' Cup. Just
true.
crushed. Where you
I
even
don't you got Horse of the Year and all that. Yeah.
and almost ran down Fierceness at Saratoga that summer, and
But
Mystic Dan hasn't had that moment.
I guess I'm thinking more, Kenny McPeek and Brian Hernandez, the jockey. What a what a punch in the gut to them. Two great horses that they've enjoyed racing
Right.
the last few years. Both are retiring. Not that they don't have others. They have a lot
Yeah,
of great.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And it's just complete. There's no real logic to what I'm saying. It's more about like when we were talking to you know, your trainer buddy. Um, Horse racing would be better off, or is going to be better off, with more interest in actual horse racing than just casino funded
Yeah.
stuff. Like, um, that's why I thought it was just really cool that you get the same three horses that duked it out last year are right back there again. It's like Madison Square Garden, and then the Thrill in Manila.
Right.
Like, is one of these guys actually better? I don't know. Is it just
Well, we got two
they
more
can punch each
horses
other in the
retired.
nose each time that they do this and finish within a length or two of each other every time?
Yeah, it's the fun stuff.
It's
We
fun.
got two more retiring. Mine Shaft, who had a
It
great
ran really well.
yeah, that great is still running well. But I love the
Fourth,
fact they
right?
let Mine Shaft run,
Yeah.
have a great career. And then the
And
last one,
finished fourth, right?
yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I was that. I didn't see that coming. I had other horses that I thought were going to be more dangerous to potentially finish in the exotics. But yeah, good for him. He ran really well.
and then Citizen Bull is retiring.
And that one doesn't surprise me.
Did me. It surprised me just because he's so young, but yeah,
Well,
give you a reason why it doesn't surprise you.
okay, I'll tell you exactly why. Again, it's that you see it in those ESPN documentaries, like the one on Seattle Slew. Like, his breeding stock, his interest as a coming sire went higher. Because he obviously wins the Triple Crown and he's undefeated going into it, but then you get talk of, oh well, maybe it was kind of a down year, blah 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 blah. But when he goes on, and who did he re-engage with? Crap. Shoemaker caught him by surprise, came up the outside, doing these on a Monday night with my ADHD brain. I can't remember the name of the horse. But Slew had the lead because, of course, he's always on the lead. And then gives up the lead, but he re-engaged, like with authority re-engaged. Like he didn't see the horse coming, horse catches him, re-engages. But everything I've read and heard, like that's where breeders like were took a huge notice. That part that is beyond speed. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I I think Citizen Bull showed that in the mile. Um, and it's my beef about the Baffert world. I don't think they're interested in the sport getting better. I think they're interested in the breeding money aspect of the sport. You know, they run the horses maybe through the summer of their 3-year-old, maybe at best into um, the Breeders' Cup, and then they're done.
Were you talking affirmed? That's who his rival was, but that's
Well, he beat a firm pretty authoritative. No, it was Shoemaker was on a different horse. I
okay.
think he put Affirmed away and then they caught him.
No, no, it was okay.
And he re-engaged and almost got, I think he might have had a couple little bobs where he was right there. But if they'd gone any further, he probably would have caught the horse again, which is ridiculous. It's just all heart. It's all like, I am not going to, if I can, I am going to run until I put you in the ground kind of thing. And Citizen Bull showed a little of that. He didn't win, but he should have given up.
Yeah, and he didn't. Yeah, that,
And I think those people are in the breeding thing as much as they are to take a run at the Kentucky Derby. It's twofold. They want to get as much for the breeding shares as they possibly can, and they do that by winning and shooting only for these big races, and then they retire the horse.
well, and what Jay Neff said was he's talking about, stallions. He really thinks the most successful stallions recently have not been the ones that won the classic or the derby. It's the Met Mile. It's the milers. It's the ones with all that speed that have had the most recent success as stallions. So that would fit. Citizen Bull is a beast. He's so big.
Yeah, he's
He may make a really good stallion.
yeah,
So
and he might, right. I mean, and I'm basing there was just a toughness to him, and he's got legit speed. And he's got a little bit of a grinder, but he doesn't have classic distance. But they were talking about that even after the Juvie last year. Like, not sure he actually wants a mile and a quarter, and he proved he doesn't.
no, and again, those have gone on to become great stallions.
Right, I'll race around the track, try and catch me.
Last retirement to talk about before we move on to those that are continuing to race.
Mm-hmm.
Frankie Dettori, their jockey.
Oh, is
He's
he
done
retired?
racing in the United States. He's going to race a couple of races in South America, but Frankie's done in the United States. That was Breeders' Cup was his last. So
Well, he
yeah.
came over. It's I mean, if like then you find out that he had to file bankruptcy, sort of like the Rolling Stones leaving England, couldn't possibly pay their taxes and left. Um, Made a great album though, Exile on Main Street.
Yes, they did.
Um, after hearing that, I'm sure that's why he came over is to try and get his financial situation back in order.
And
But
and
I'm
he
a little
did.
surprised that he's
He was fun. He was fun. I like him. He's a character. He's a good guy. Great
well,
jockey.
yeah, he's a fun guy, and we got to see that crazy day at Santa Anita where how
Yeah.
many win in a row?
2 years ago, Santa Anita Derby Day, he won 7, 8 mounts. It was unbelievable.
It was for sure like 6 in a row, wasn't it? Something
Yeah, I think
crazy.
it's 6 in a row. I think seven total, but
Yeah.
it was quite the thing to see.
Yeah, and it was awesome. It was just one of those. It's sort of like being at a game where you start to say, "Wait a second, this guy got a no hitter going." At some point, we were saying, "Wait a second, how many in a row is that for him?" Because it's just not something you see or talk about. And you know, by five, people were, everybody was talking about it. But I love those moments as a fan where the whispers are starting to happen. How many has he won in a row? Did he win? That kind of thing. It's fun. So sad to see him go.
All right, so let's talk good news. Let's talk about the horses, well, that are still going to be running. We're not 100% sure about Sovereignty. Sovereignty's not out. They're thinking of possibly pointing them towards the Saudi Arabia Derby, the Saudi Derby over in Dubai. That was a plan before the Breeders' Cup, before he got scratched. But we're not hearing anything. Well, I shouldn't say we're not hearing anything. We're hearing they haven't decided yet. So,
Well, hopefully the undecided is the do we want to put him through the traveling regiment and blah blah blah.
oh, I
Uh,
see what you're saying. Is it whether or not we send them to Dubai or whether we can run them? Yeah, I would. I could live with that. I don't need them running
yeah,
to Dubai. I
right.
don't care about that.
And, you know, I mean, it's a while till there's really interesting races, but you know, he ran well this summer. Why not give him some time off? But yeah, I wish there was a way. It's one of the things I respect so much about whoever this team is that owns Forever Young, that you know, they're not, the horse and loves to run. He's a racehorse. He loves racing. Let's do what he does and race him. You
Speaking of
know,
which, they have committed to having him
right?
continue racing. He is going to the Saudi Derby, the or not Derby, the Saudi Cup or whatever they call it.
Yeah, and he's got nothing to prove, but
No,
that's what we do. He races. He likes to race. You know, that's it's a lost thing. Um, so I love that about him. And them. And sometimes I wonder, you know, is it a motive to keep promoting Japanese horse racing, like get more interest?
maybe.
I know I think I you hear me harping on that, right?
Yeah.
I think it would really help our industry a ton if we had more of that.
Yeah, and Forever Young's a great ambassador for Japanese horse racing. It's
Right.
yeah,
There he is.
he's great.
Right. I mean, it's not a lot of Kentucky Derbies that are photos, and you make a legit case that he kind of got robbed.
Yeah,
I mean, he got robbed of second. Tyler's should have, and I love Tyler,
yeah.
but I would have brought him down. I would have brought Sierra Leone down and brought Forever Young up.
Well, and without Sierra Leone, without fierceness, we're losing. Torpedo Anna. We're losing some of these big name horses that we liked watching this in 2025. 2026, we got to think what do we have? Who are the horses we're going to look at? And Forever Young is at the top of the list. Hopefully, Sovereignty will be there. Journalism agreed. They were thinking about retiring him, but journalism is going to keep running. Baeza.
And
Baeza's,
of that group, Baeza is still somewhat intriguing because he's a younger horse for the 3-year-old crop, but it didn't, pretty
he
disappointing how
had
he
a
responded to that tough competition.
yeah, he had a hard time getting out of the gate at the Breeders' Cup and really didn't have a great showing there. But yeah,
Mhm.
but a very exciting horse. He acted up in the paddock area. He showed his immaturity, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, he'd have to really improve over the winter to be excited about him in the classic, I think. Yeah, well, and we'll just have to see who emerges in this 2-year-old into 3-year-old crop.
You, you,
Um,
you know who I'm kind of excited about next year
hmm,
Classic.
hmm.
It's a long shot as far as getting in there doing it,
I
but
got no guess.
Nisos. Nisos can
Oh,
get healthy and stretch out a bit. Um, I
yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if he runs in the classic next year, but he's got to stay healthy. Got to
Has
put
he
together
ever
a
run
3-4 race.
anywhere? I can't even. I'd have to go back and look. Has he run a mile and an eighth? Yeah, I
No,
assume he has. He hasn't. Okay,
no, I don't think. Well, I shouldn't say that so quickly.
not in the last year.
I don't know if he has it. Yeah, and again, Nisos looked really good.
Yeah, that
Um,
was a really good race. He
um,
was a fighter.
so,
Um,
so what we have is hopefully Sovereignty, Forever Young, journalism,
Well, and it's a year
Right.
away. So much can happen, you know.
Yeah, but I'm just these are horses I'm going to be, and they're running on the
Rooting.
weekend. I'm going to be, watching that race, so I can see them, be a fan. That's the way it was with Fierceness and Torpedo Anna and
Right.
Leon. I liked when they ran. I watched
Right.
wherever they were, and so I'm kind of trying to find who are my horses, 2026 that I'm going to be watching. Obviously, I like Ted Naffy, early on, but and there's going to be a lot of other 2-year-olds. Uh, I'm
Yeah, I
hoping
mean,
Ted Naffy because we have a bet going. I want to win the bet. You
awesome.
you you have
Awesome.
those unnamed horses right now.
Right. I know, which is not even a bet. It's just cheating.
Player to be named later.
Right. Right. Is there a player to be named later in any trade that's going to the Hall of Fame? Yes. At
You're
some
hoping.
point, it's going to happen. Um, yeah, it was still a really fun weekend, and it could have been really kind of bordering on epic, if, in my opinion, if you would have had Sovereignty running at those three, that would have been really cool.
And
It's
Mystic
still a really
Dan
good
and
race, but it would have been fun to see what Mystic Dan did with that hot pace and what White Abario would have done with it
White
too.
Mario, yeah. But we're not complaining.
No,
We got our money's worth and then some.
yep.
Um, it was great. Speaking of money's worth, the last bit before we end it, um, the betting, the betting for the Breeders' Cup this year was down from the years before. But
On site.
Saturday it was up. It was
Oh,
up on Saturday, but Friday was so low. And they're what they're saying is Halloween. Didn't the Dodgers play in the World Series game on Friday, or was that yeah,
yeah, yeah. That was the game
game
where the ball
six?
stuck at the wall.
Yeah, game six.
No,
So you had the Dodger game going on, which I know it didn't conflict with the same time, but it was the same day and Halloween, and so people, I guess, didn't watch the
were they
Friday.
saying on track or at the track,
No,
like
all betting,
attendance?
all
Okay.
betting. Which
Well, because I feel like last year it was on Halloween and no, it was the
no,
first and the
it's on
second.
the first and second.
Yep, you're right.
It backed into Halloween this year. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I doubt it. But
Well,
the
if
betting,
betting, I feel better about, yeah, because that's a legit thing. For sure, it would bring it down. And if it's up on the classic day, then
yeah, it was, and
then
it was.
yeah,
Overall, it
then
was down, but on Saturday it was up from the year before. So take
I
that for whatever it's worth.
think that's a better sign personally.
Yeah, hopefully. All right. Well, hey, it was fun.
Yep.
We'll talk some more horse racing as we move forward from here. And
Yeah, from
yeah,
here through the winter, it'll be looking for those qualifying races
yep,
because they're pretty soon here. It's going to be back to back to back to back to back
yeah, we got a lot to talk about. A lot of as we start focusing on Derby horses.
every Saturday.
All right.
All right. Have a good rest of the week there, my friend.
You too. Take care. Bye.